So I really want to focus today on the feeling of support, how allowing ourselves to enjoy the support that is offered to us by supporting surfaces, whether that's the floor or the seat of the chair or the back of the chair or the desk itself or forearms. I want to focus today on what a difference it can make when we avail ourselves of the support that there is. Okay, and one way we're going to do that today is by tapping into the support in different relationships to gravity, and also by using an excellent prop, which is the wall. Okay, so today we're going to allow ourselves, after an initial warm-up, to feel supported by a wall. We will do poses that we've done before, but we'll use the wall to support us in a different way, and we'll see how that brings more ease into other areas of our body. The place that I would like to take this is an ergonomic place, but that work is like for you guys to do afterwards, to notice when you sit or stand for that matter, with 2 feet firmly supported on the floor or a footrest, and your thighs and sitting bones firmly supported on a chair, and your forearms supported by the armrest of your chair or at the top of your desk. How you feel your ergonomic risk going down in other areas of the body. The support builds from the bottom up. Everything above is supported by that below it. So let's take a minute here, and I'm in a seated position. You might have already got yourself into a lying down position, whatever position you're in, even standing is fine. Just to notice what is supporting you, where it's supporting you, to drop into that support, and then if you're sitting up, to draw that ease along your spine and feel it in your shoulders, across the back. Okay, when the legs and pelvis are supported, the upper body can be easy. If you're lying down, you have a tremendous area of support. Your whole back body is supported by the mat, and you want to be noticing the ease in your front body. Okay, if you're lying down, take your hands a little bit away from your body, open the palms to the ceiling. That eases up the front of the shoulders, and the back body, rather than contracting, can take its support from a structure, from the floor, rather than from muscular work. Okay, so let's just take a minute, feel the points of contact with the supporting surface, and the ease in the area of your body that is above that which is supported. With every exhalation, connect a little bit deeper with the supporting surface. Now, there are just tremendous applications for this throughout your working day. You can always take a moment and ask yourself, how am I connecting with the floor? I'll say it again, when we do a quantified ergonomic risk assessment, the quickest and easiest way to reduce overall risk is to get both feet supported on a stable surface. That can be floor, footrest, the rung of a ladder, whatever whatever a person is working on. Just that symmetric, firm support benefits everything that's above it. We've said before, we can't create ease in the body. If we want to experience more ease, we have to create more stability by connecting a little bit more intentionally with whatever is supporting us. Take another minute here with every exhalation. Sink a little deeper into the ground below you. And with every inhalation, go to the area of your body where you feel some ease, and let that ease spread out into the space above and beyond. Just observing here the relationship between stability and ease, or in ergonomic terms, we might want to call it being supported and experiencing less strain. And let's come down into a lying down position. Okay, and Whether you need to or not, take a yawn here, and as you yawn, just notice everything on the exhalation sinking down into the mat. A deep sigh or a yawn is just a great way to connect a little bit deeper with the supporting surface. Give yourself a good stretch. Press your feet into an imaginary wall, your calves into the mat, your mid-back, your pelvis, and get as much of a spinal stretch as you can get right now. The shoulders will go to where the shoulders go. Don't worry about it if your arms aren't opening fully right now. And with the next exhalation, bring one leg into the chest. Okay, so by gently bringing that thigh to the belly on the exhalation and releasing it on the inhalation, we're creating some movement in the pelvis. Both sides of the pelvis asymmetrically. I'm going to just gradually warm up the lower body before we do some standing poses at the wall. Bring your supporting leg to a bent position, supporting foot on the floor. Really pay attention here. You're kind of in an asymmetrically supported way here. It's 1 foot. The pelvis is also not entirely symmetric. Pay attention to the backs of both sides of your pelvis as you raise that leg. Okay, you're raising the leg. You want to grab the thigh here and really interlace your fingers, grab the back of that thigh and trust your hands. Let the weight of the leg go into the hands. And then bring that leg to where it can really be supported by the back of its side of the pelvis. Okay, the more you sink down into the pelvis, the more ease you're going to feel in that leg. And we will point and flex the foot. We'll need to warm up the ankles and pay attention to the feet. Refresh them here by this inversion. The feet are not supporting us here, but we have a much bigger basic support than when they are. The whole back body and the other foot. Don't forget about the right foot. The whole right side of the body. And some circles, one way and the other. This is a good moment to make another plug for an articulating footrest. If you use a footrest anyway, why not move your feet? And now we can release the thigh. We're just going to straighten and bend the knee. And please remember, this is the only plane, the only direction in which the knee was intended to move. Again, tapping into as much support as you can from the back of the pelvis on the side of the raised leg. Okay, and now we're going to externally rotate the hip here, take that knee out to the side, but without putting any pressure on the knee. Now we're gently going to bring the other thigh into the chest, okay? It's possible to put a lot of sideways pressure on your knee, risking an injury here, okay? We don't want to press the knee that's pointing out to the side. We don't want to press that knee away from us, okay? We want to pay attention here to working safely and how everything is connected to everything. So the question is, how much of a pull can I safely get on the other side, the supporting side, without putting any pressure on my open knee? This is one of the positions known as runner stretch. And from here, we'll release the thigh, bring your arms up to the side. I'll bend my arm because I have a wall on one side. And we're just going to rock gently from side to side. Okay, if you feel any pressure at all in the knee that's pointing out to the side, Well, the first thing you can do is flex that foot. By flexing a foot, we add some stability to the knee. The knee is not that stable. So by stabilizing the next closest joint, we can bring some stability to the knee. If that doesn't work, then of course you don't have to do the pose at all, or you can go very, very small amounts of side to side here. Okay, and bring both knees into the chest here. Just hold them there. And then with the breath, creating movement in the pelvis and lower spine, bring the knees into the chest on the exhalation, and the tailbone release to the ground on the inhalation. Okay, so again, this is a breath-centered movement here. It depends, you can either view it as it is a breath-centered movement, but you can create the movement of the breath by imagining that you're squeezing the air out of your lungs with your thighs. Of course, your lungs don't really need the thighs to exhale. That's just air pressure changes that are doing that on their own. Okay, other side. Bring the other foot to the mat, keeping that knee bent, and raise the leg that was bent before. Raise the other side. Okay, so just hold the leg there here. Press the ceiling away with your foot, and imagine the full weight of that leg being drawn by gravity back into the hip socket. Okay, so you can actually, if you want here, just to play with the support to that side of the pelvis, you can sort of press the ceiling away and then allow the leg to be drawn back into the pelvis. You notice how much that tapping into the support of the pelvis allows experience of ease in that leg. Now we said before that when we're sitting, it's everything, well here too, it's everything above the supported surface. Just in this case, it's the foot. Working in inverted poses is really, really great. Let's point and flex the foot, articulating the ankle joint. Very necessary. Circles clockwise and counterclockwise. So remembering about the knee. Okay, now another knee awareness point is that when you're sitting, you want to make sure that your knees aren't bent. Now, I don't want people to be a slave to 90-degree angles. People who get their information, from the internet about ergonomics know that you need 90-degree angles. We're not a slave to 90-degree angles. However, if your knee is closed, that means if when you're sitting, your heel is further back than your knee, it is not so great for circulation. Okay, it does cut off circulation to the lower body. So basically, you want to kind of listen if your knees are speaking to you. Knees do tend to hurt when people sit for a long period of time. We'll bend that foot across the other thigh just above the knee and pull that thigh in. Okay, so if your knees are hurting, it's possible that you're straining the front of the knee and cutting off circulation in the back. If, for example, you're resting your feet on the base of your chair, which of course I hope you're not, but we all do it. So be aware that the knees need some work too. Pay attention to the knee here. If your knee that's pointing out to the side is feeling, I don't even want to say pain because we all know to back up before we feel pain, but if it's feeling that you're getting close to your limit of your range of motion, then you want to flex the foot and also back out of the stretch. Don't press on the thigh that's out to the side with your forearm or your elbow. Okay, don't put any pressure on that knee from the inside. And side to side here. Side movement. Okay, now we'll go to the spine. We will warm up the spine, so bring both feet to the mat here. Interlace your fingers and put them behind your head. Now, when you're going to raise your head with your hands in this position, it's like you've turned the switch of your neck off. The hands are going to do the full work of raising the head. It's as though you're supporting a bowling ball, okay? That's why we put the hands behind the head when we do any kind of, raising the shoulders off the mat. It's to not overtax the muscles of the neck, okay? So we will exhale, raise the head and shoulders off the floor, and inhale and press the floor away and raise up the pelvis. Okay, so then we're doing a kind of a supine cat-cow here, where we're moving the spine through its extension, neutral, flexion, range of motion, okay? Cat-cow is something that can be done supine, sitting, on all fours, standing. You can always move your back through this range of motion here. Press the floor away. Don't use your lower spine to come up, okay? More feet, less lower spine. Let the full weight of the head be supported by the hands, and bring the head back to the mat. And we'll come up to the bridge here, okay? An easy bridge, first bridge of the day. Let's press the floor away, shorten the tops of the hamstrings, and let the weight fall in an arc from the knee to the shoulders. Now, something that's super important here is if you have to turn your head, let's say to look at the screen, don't do it here. Just let the verbal cues set you up. It's very unsafe to turn your neck when you're in this position in case there is weight on your neck. Okay, so we just look straight up at the ceiling here. Press the floor away a little bit more with your feet, activate the feet to press the floor away. And you can squeeze your shoulder blades together here to bring your chest in the direction of the wall behind you. And as you come down, squeeze as much of your back out into the floor as you can. This refreshes and rehydrates the fascia of your back body. Okay, keeping your hands behind the neck here, we will just release the neck even as we lift up the head with the hands, with the elbows, okay? Make sure that your hands are taking a lot of weight, the full weight of your head here, and gently turn the neck on one side to the other. Remember, we always want to move the neck when it is decompressed. So first we release the neck, and then we turn it from side to side. Okay, straighten out one leg, we'll go into a spinal twist. We'll actually move the spine through its directions lying down, and then we'll just go right to standing up. So bring one leg in, the other leg is straight. Actually, before you bring it in, scoot your hips a little bit over to the side you're going to be twisting away from. Raise one leg and take it across the body, keeping the shoulder that you're moving away from on the mat. Breathe into the side of the body, the side of the rib cage that you're twisting away from. Easy spinal twist, first spinal twist of the day. No crimping, no cramping, just something that feels nice. Twist should always be somewhere that you want to stay. A twist should not be unpleasant. If it is, you've gone too far. Maximize the advantages of this platform by working in the area that's safe for you. No, you're not competing with anybody, and no one knows what you're doing. Bring both feet back to the mat, scoot over to the side you're going to be twisting away from, straighten the other leg, bring the thigh into the body and take it across. Okay, now with a twist, we always say this, you have to be intentional with the placement of your head, but two good suggestions are either facing where your sternum is facing or continuing the twist. Okay, so if you want to continue the twist, you look out over the side you've turned away from. And whatever is lengthened, whatever is open, that's where we send the breath. Okay, and we remember the breath only goes to the lung, but wherever we open a space, we can make room for movement caused by the breath. must be somewhere that's pleasant for you to stay for a little while here. There can't be any grimacing or effort in the breath on a twist. Okay? And now we will, so we stretched, we lengthened the spine, we did some supine cat-cow, we did a twist, we'll move the spine in its fourth direction here, which is a sideways twist. So bring one foot to the side of your mat and cross the other heel over that ankle, okay? And then grab your wrist. If your left foot is crossing over your right ankle, then you want to be grabbing your left wrist with your right hand. And imagine that you are stretching an elastic band from the upper heel to the hand that is crossing the body's midline. Both shoulders are on the mat. It's the entire side of your body that's opening up here. Feel the connection. Your body actually is connected by a spider web-like network of fascia. There really is a connection here. Everything is wrapped in these hydrated filaments, and our job is just to keep them hydrated, and we do that by movement. Okay, but there is a real connection. It's not an imaginary connection or an energetic connection only. So be aware of the connection from the heel. Press through the heel. Press through the heel of the hand. Breathe into the open side. Come on back. And take both feet up the width of the mat and cross the other heel over the other ankle. Grabbing the wrist on the side of the upper heel, and you're lengthening the side of the body from the heel up the outside of the calf, outside of the knee, hip. Pelvis is heavy here. We're not going into a back bend. Actually, we don't want to go into a back bend here, so keep your back ribs really nicely connected to the mat. It's the side ribs that are opening up. I like to isolate movements. If we're doing a sideways lean here, opening one side of the spine, then it's nice to do it without going into a back bend, especially when we're warming up. Okay, we'll take one more bridge, this time with our hands at our sides, okay? So place your feet with some real intention here. We're going to be doing the work of getting you up into a bridge. Now, it's important to protect your knees here. You remember what we said about sitting at your desk. It's the same thing here and also in standing poses. When our knees are ahead of our ankles, it's not a stable position, and it's also bad for circulation and sitting down, but it's never good for the knees. So even if first of all, I don't suggest bringing your heels all the way in as far as you can. They could be a little bit behind the knees as you come up, because we're then going to bring the knees back as we let the weight fall to our shoulders. Now, if your arms, remember, don't look at the screen here. Don't turn your head to the left or right. Okay, just keep looking up at the ceiling. If your arms are on the mat, maybe depending on what's going on with your shoulders, maybe your lower arms don't reach the mat, but if your upper arms are on the mat, then use them for support as well, okay? You can really use those triceps to push the mat away. Keep your knees from falling out to the sides, okay? We don't want to overuse the glutes here. If you want, you can press yourself up with your hands. It's not necessary at all. Give yourself a support. Maybe another time we'll do a supported bridge pose using a prop, but right now we're not. And squeeze as much of your back body lengthwise and also widthwise as you come down slowly. Squeeze out as much of your back body as you can on the mat. The fleshy part, and roll around from side to side. We're going to do some poses that we've done before. We're going to do them using the wall as a prop to feel the difference. I'm afraid we don't have time to do them with and without the wall. So that's something you're going to be able to experiment with on your own. Okay, so come on down into an all fours position with your feet, I don't know, almost like the length of 1 foot, but not quite the length of 1 foot from the wall behind you. Okay. And when we're in all fours, we can never resist the temptation to do a little cat-cow. And this is a good chance to notice what is different about a cat-cow when it's our hands supporting us compared to when it's most of the back body, to a supine cat-cow. Okay, as we come forward, we soften the elbows to release the front of the shoulders. And as we exhale, we press the floor away. Okay, we're going to curl the toes under here. We're going to come up into a down dog pose here. Take your feet back so that your heels are actually resting on the wall. Okay, now come on back down slowly onto your knees. I think I said to come a little too far away from the wall. You really just need to be about half of a foot's width from the wall. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And here, when we say come up to a down dog by pressing your hips against the back wall, here we really are very close to a back wall. So you can imagine it happening. Okay, so press your hands. You got more hand on the mat than you do foot, so it makes sense to use them. And see if you can get your pelvis very, 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 very close to that back wall. And now use the wall, okay? Use the reverberation from the wall to get that pelvis high from the foot end, okay? It's different from having your heels in the air to your heels actually getting some feedback from a wall. Your hands are very, very, very active. When we say press the pelvis up the wall, we can almost do it here. Fill out the mid-back, fill out the lower back. Most people love this pose, okay? It depends on you, but you can view it as a wonderful resting pose. And if you're supported by a wall, it's that much easier to stay here for a long time. Keep the hands pressing the hips up that wall, very, very close to the wall here, and gently, gently come down onto both knees. Okay, if you can sit on your heels, this is not available. This is not a pose that's available to everybody, and I don't recommend it if you've had knee trouble in the past. If you can sit on your heels, it's a marvelous, marvelous, try not to say stretch, marvelous, marvelous opening for the front of the knees and the front of the thighs. And it's also a great place to really play with using the two sitting bones for support, because that's kind of the only part of you here that is getting support from a supporting surface. In this case, the supporting surface is a part of your own body, your heels. Okay, come on, stand up. And we're going to do the triangle pose with support from the back wall, okay? So the triangle pose is like a wide stance. It's not your wide disc stance. It's not your stance that we do when the feet are below the wrist. It's a little bit narrower than that. It's just a comfortable wide stance. And okay, then we spin out the front foot to face the front of the mat, and just take a moment to make sure that your front heel is in a line with your back arch, okay? That's how we line up our feet. Now we're going to take a moment here to protect the front knee, which we do by bending it for a second, lifting the heel, and then smearing the front forefoot into the floor as we bring that front heel forward, okay? So we're just digging into the support from the earth with the front of that foot, okay? We straighten that foot, and let's notice what's happened to our hips, notice what's happened to our spine. Naturally, the back hip has come forward, but we want to do a little bit of a twist here to face the wall in front of us. Now notice what's going on in the front knee as that happens. The most important thing here is not to strain the front knee, okay? The knee can never be falling in inside of the big toe here. Bring that heel forward. Your front heel should be almost like the inside of your front foot should be pretty parallel to the side of the mat here, okay? You want that knee tracking out, face forward. Okay, your chest is facing the wall. Bring your hands to your hips here, to your hip sockets, and straighten your front leg as your hip kind of eats that front hand. Okay, now lean into the wall behind you. If you are in fact using a wall, lean into it very heavily. It's one thing to say, press the ground away to lift yourself up, but it's quite another thing to feel the support of the wall on the outside of your foot. That really brings the message home that we want to send most of our weight and get most of our support from the back foot. Okay, now we can bring the front hand, like sort of an upside down horseshoe, to the thigh above the knee. And if the area between your shoulder and your ear here has shortened, then it means you're sinking into that shoulder. We want to use that hand like a tripod. So we now have 3 limbs lifting us up instead of 2. Get as high as you can with your front arm. Just press that thigh away and then raise the back arm up here. Now, we don't want to use the back arm. This is what we don't want to do. We don't want to use the back arm to open the chest. We want that back arm to be connected to the front arm. Most of the effort now is being done by my back foot pressing into the wall so that I can experience some ease in my chest and the front of my upper shoulder and my upper hip. Just take a few moments here to play around with tapping into the support from the floor and the thigh and the wall to experience more ease here. Remember that in an asymmetric pose, the back leg is always doing more than the front. We can bring that hand to the sacrum in the back, okay? And we can face forward here. Let's keep that back leg, actually it's not so easy. Let's keep that back leg connecting with the wall, okay? Keep the back heel connecting with the wall. Again, take a second to smear the front forefoot into the floor so we can really use it for support. Our hands are behind our back now, maybe clasped behind the sternum. Maybe we're grabbing opposite elbow with opposite hand, and both hips are facing forward. Okay, now take a moment to soften and release the pelvis to the floor. Let the tailbone kind of point directly below the pelvis. Relax the spine. Inhale and lengthen the spine. Use the back heel to get support not only from the floor but also the wall behind it. Lengthen the spine and then open up the mid-spine here. Okay, keep the tailbone pressing to the floor. Don't let your lower back go into much of an arc. The back bend is in the mid-back. Use the back heel against the wall. And let's do a hip hinge. We'll hinge the pelvis over the front hip. We can soften the front knee. We don't need to overstrain it. No pain is ever permissible in the knee, okay? If you're feeling it in the front knee, you'll have to soften the knee or come out of the pose. Come down halfway. And then let your head, shoulders, mid-back, and upper back go as you hang down over the front thigh. Use the back leg. Protect the front knee. Your upper body, even though it's bent forward in a forward fold, is supported by the lower, so that the spine is easy. Okay, even as you come up, the upper body is supported by the lower. There's no work in the spine. We use the feet to press us up. And we'll switch sides. You'll switch sides, I won't, because I don't wanna turn my back to you, okay? So, same thing on the other side, a nice easy triangle here. Using the back wall, and then spin your front foot out, front heel lines up with the back arch. Bend the front knee, take the heel back a little bit so you can smear the forefoot into the floor to super connect with the front foot, and then put the heel back down, straighten the leg, and now if your back hip is falling forward, let's protect the front knee. Okay, now this is an important thing. There's a relationship between the front knee and the back hip. So just take a second to feel that for yourself, okay? If the front hip wants to fall forward, the back hip, wants to fall forward to protect the front knee. So you don't want to put any torque on the front knee. So find a place, if you do feel torque on the front knee, then you're not going to be able to open that back hip all the way. So that the hip is going to be where it is, but the chest is going to come forward, okay? And bring your hands to your hip sockets again. The hip socket kind of eats the front hand as you come down, grabbing above your thigh, okay? No shortening in the space between your ear and your shoulder here. We want length, we press the head up, we press the neck up by adding the arm to whatever is supporting us. We have two legs, add an arm pressing down so that we can get lift here, and again, bring the hand up. Okay, the open shoulder is what's keeping the hand where it is. The hand is not leading the way. The hand is not falling back. The hand is making a kind of a line in the same plane as the bottom hand. The arms are connected through the body, through the lift, and the lift is the result of the rooting down. You can bring that hand to the sternum, to the sacrum. Okay, and set ourselves up with both hips facing forward, slight bend in the front leg till we find our safe place, and the back leg using the back wall for support, okay? Now, we've done these poses before without the support of the back wall, so we want to notice here what's it like with the back wall. So take a moment to drop the pelvis, okay, so that we can have the spine clipped into the pelvis, rising for the pelvis without going into an extended, too much of a lower spinal extension, okay? Both hips are forward. Actually, this time we will clasp our hands behind our back, and we're going to pull the shoulders down. So take a moment to inhale, and relax the spine, drop the pelvis and relax the spine as we exhale. Inhale again, lengthen the mid-back and use your shoulder blades, the lower tips of your shoulder blades to press the chest forward. Come into a slight mid-back, upper back bend. Lower back is easy, the tailbone is facing down. Come up. And keep your hands behind your back. Again, they can be clasped. You can grab opposite elbow with opposite hands. You can do a reverse prayer position here. And we're doing a forward fold, which is a hip hinge, okay? Which is hinging the front pelvis over the thigh. Protect the front knee, root in through the ball of your big toe and soften the knee if you have to. The front foot doesn't have to be straight. Use the wall for support. There has to be ease in the upper body here. The ease is coming from rooting the front foot into the floor and the back foot into the wall. And then let your head go, let your shoulders go, let your upper back go, and let the head go. Use the feet, protect the knees to experience ease in the upper body, in the spine, in the neck. Okay, and press the back foot into the wall and the floor away with the ball of the big toe in front to come up with no spine. And we will stand for a moment okay, in a pose that is supposedly not demanding, okay, just to find our support from the ground. Now, because so little of us is connecting with the supporting surface here, we have to go a little bit deeper in our imaginations. We have to root a little bit deeper down below the surface of the ground than we do if we're, say, lying down on the ground. We need more support. There's a limit to how much you can get from just superficial contact with these 3 points. So you really have to drop down here. And from there, draw energy up through the feet, calves, backs of the legs. Take a moment to just sink that lower body down. Relax the pelvis, relax the spine, and feel yourself getting a little bit taller. Experience the root to rise relationship here. Ask yourself how much support is it possible to get from just 3 points of the body? Well, 6, 3 on each foot, okay? Compared to, say, when we're lying down or even sitting in a chair, there's a lot of support available to us that we don't necessarily use as much as we could. So here, even with just this tiny base of support, and then the closer your feet are together, the narrower your base of support, by really recognizing and using what's below us, we can still experience release and ease somewhere else in the body. Lie down, let your feet come out wider than your hips or to the edge of your mat if you're using one. And bring your hands away from your body's midline, more or less the same distance as your feet. Open your palms to the ceiling, and you can actually do that a few times so that you experience what goes on in the front of your shoulders and your chest when you do that. Okay, and exhale. You're home alone, so you can exhale with a sigh and notice how much more of you connects with the supporting surface. Do that again. Inhale. Exhale, let everything go. Surrender as much of your mass and tension and effort as you possibly can to the supporting surface. And just lie here for a few moments. And experience the resulting release in the front body. Okay, now all of this can be transferred to a sitting position, even when you're sitting in a chair. The more you tap into what's there to support you, the greater ease you can experience in the unsupported areas. For example, your hands or your head or your neck. Everything is supported by what's below it. And we can build up that support with adjustments and props and awareness, so that eventually you're working supported, and that is how you experience more ease, less strain, and less fatigue and injury. With every exhalation, believe it or not, it's still possible after such a short relaxation to continue releasing tension, releasing effort. There's always a little bit more to let go. You want to observe the growing feeling of ease as more and more of you releases to the support. Sorry about the short relaxation at the end today, but try and transition, keeping the relaxation with you as you roll for a moment onto one side. You stay curled, and why don't you use your lower arm here as a pillow for your head. And just stay on your side until the effort and the mass trickles down to that side of your body, and from there to the ground. And then you're going to use the hand below your head, the arm below your head, and your other hand, which is palm down, like in front of your heart on the floor, to press yourselves up into a sitting position. We'll take a moment here. To notice what parts of our body are in contact with the floor, sides of the feet, maybe the ankles, some of the thigh, sitting bones. And the hands are supported here on your knees or on your thighs, whether it's palm down or palm up. That's another level of support for your spine and upper body. With every exhalation, connect with the support from gravity, and with every inhalation, just feel the rebound as energy flowing effortlessly through your spine, past the shoulder area, through the vertebrae of your neck, to this head, which has suddenly become very, very light and upward drifting. Support. And the openness. The stability, always available by just bringing your attention to contact with the supporting surface, and the ease that moves from the bottom along the spine past the head. Using this structural supportive form to demand less of the actual soft tissue of the body here. You can release your muscles because this physical, stable form is supporting you. Breathing with the ease, breathing through the ease, and taking this idea of noticing and connecting with the support into the rest of your day, to make your time spent working as pleasant and supported and comfortable as possible. So, thanks for joining.